We're expecting to receive without giving or contributing in return. Healthy masculine is discernment. The masculine approach brings clarity by addressing issues head first. Many times women are shying about that. They don't know how to actually receive because it's not in our DNA. Hi, I'm Dr. Neeta. This is your destination, your oasis to be all things just a little bit more brave in your actions, in your relationships, and in your life. And today I'm really deepening because I've really loved, and I've heard from so many of you who loved our series on toxic feminine traits. And I think it's so important to go into the differences between toxic feminine and healthy masculine and what we can learn from the both of them, and what we are not doing or how we're not showing up in a relationship and how that actually can affect our relationship. And just a little bit of research on this, and even in my own life, having a healthy masculine in your life. And I am talking about my co-pilot, co-partner, Ajit Nawalka. He has been such a strong masculine. And honestly, he has so much discernment and he has really clear communication skills and he has so much clarity and he has so much presence. And I think these are the traits that have such a large and heavy weight so that it holds the feminine. We're not going to be kind of all over the place because you have a strong masculine to hold the container. You're not going to be stepping over their toes because you can trust that they're going to have everything set up for you and hold you so well, whether it's a strong container for you to just fall apart in a beautiful way, or whether it's allowing you to soften so that you don't have to carry the bulk of the load. And so often, a lot of my very strong, even masculine women are like, where are they? Where are these masculine men? Where are these strong masculine men with healthy masculine characteristics? Whereas I can soften in my healthy feminine to actually receive more and not think this is coming from a place of manipulation. This is not coming from a place of, hey, I kind of want to persuade you and get my way of things, because that is also a very toxic feminine trait. Here are 4 toxic feminine traits that I think so often many of us have been exposed to or maybe even use. And I'm going to talk about the healthy masculine energies that actually stop them. So in order to dive a little bit deeper, let's actually break down what is toxic femininity. Now, toxic femininity is all about controlling, manipulating, or deceiving to get what one wants, rather than allowing things to come naturally from a place of self-worth, not from a place of lack, but also from a place of openness, from a place of helpfulness, from a place of abundance. And true feminine power is powerful. It's reciprocal. It's collaborative. It's celebratory. It's magnetic. It's not coming from a push, or a hustle. It's coming from a place of fully being empowered in your body. And toxic femininity is actually rooted in insecurity and coercion, forcing somebody to do something, forcing to get your way, and where we are allowing other people to just be and accepting who they are, where they are, and when and if something is going to happen. So the first is manipulative. Now, and this is really huge because this toxic feminine trait can actually be manipulative when we are specifically using toxic femininity to receive. And a lot of times when we're saying receiving and receiving compliments or receiving gifts or receiving adoration, a lot of times there could be a healthy way to receive, which many times women are shying about that. They don't want that. They don't know how to actually receive because it's not in our DNA. Many of us grew up in households that were people-pleasing, that were also toxic because the generational cycles are kind of passed down from one generation to the next. And so oftentimes you're using guilt or seduction or victimhood to actually extract resources, attention, and or favors. And it's not coming from a place of vulnerable desires and or needs. It's coming from a place of lack and thinking that we have to play the game of chess in order to get our way. And actually, that's not a good place to come from when you're coming from a genuine place of receiving. Now, the second thing is entitlement based. I talk about this in my book, That Sucked Now What? How to Embrace Joy in Chaos and Find Magic in the Mess. And we're expecting to receive without giving or contributing in return. People do this, you go to the clubs or the nightclubs or the restaurants and they're supposed to get in for, free, as women do. And, this is kind of ingrained in the culture. Society has kind of taught us this way. And many times I see this on the streets of Dubai now, that oftentimes influencers will get these passes because they're looking for young, beautiful women to fill, their restaurants and their beach clubs and things like that. And so again, this is entitlement based, right? Expecting to receive. Okay, it's one thing when you're invited. It's one thing if you are doing this for a living and this is actually, you're a creator and this is actually what you do. But it's another thing if you just expect it just because you're using your charm or your looks or manipulation in some way. So you're expecting to receive without giving or contributing anything in return. Now, the third toxic femininity trait is being passive aggressive. Now, the thing about being passive aggressive is that it's an emotional tool. It's the fact that we can't say or express the fact that we're hurt. Hey, that really hurt that you said that. I am feeling really upset right now. Instead, what it shows up as is we're slamming doors, we're being very short with the other person, we're not answering them, we're ignoring them, or we aren't paying attention because you are being passive aggressive in your behavior. And so you're playing helpless or you're overly dependent to force someone to provide something for you. So again, a very toxic way of receiving support. The other way that this can actually look like is exploiting your gender norms. So using outdated stereotypes. A woman shouldn't have to work or men should always provide to get what you want without any effort. And I understand this is a big, big topic. And I'm all about having a healthy masculine so that I can surround myself and surrender myself to be in the feminine, to receive. I'm all about that. But when it's coming from a place of lack, when it's coming from an expectation, when it's coming from using stereotypical gender norms, there is a fine line there. And the last one, okay, I'm giving you 5, so this is a bonus, is taking rather than receiving. So, and with the little appreciation from the giver. This is all traits of toxic femininity when we are in receivership. Now, when we are actually talking about how this looks like as healthy masculine traits, healthy masculine is discernment. And this is what we can all do. We can all have a little bit more discernment. Where are we putting our energy? Where are we putting our time? If you are with a person, with a man who is in their healthy masculine, it's going to allow you to soften, to not harden up, to not be so rigid in allowing support from a healthy male or healthy masculine figure in your life. So a masculine man recognizes when giving is being taken advantage of, okay, and maintains a balance and mutual dynamic in the relationship. So in other words, it's a symbiotic relationship. It's not a parasitic relationship, right? So another healthy masculine trait that we don't talk about enough is integrity. Integrity is huge because when a man or when that masculine energy, okay, can set clear boundaries and see through any manipulation and make decisions based on raw honesty rather than being swayed by emotional tactics, they can hold a very strong container for a woman or a feminine energy to soften into. The healthy masculine trait is actually accountability. All right. So when we have accountability, the masculine presence can actually encourage personal responsibility. It can call out victimhood while offering support for real challenges. And what tends to happen here is we are able to then not use some of these toxic feminine traits, and we can actually allow ourselves to receive more. So communication is also a healthy masculine trait. Now, the masculine approach brings clarity by addressing issues head first. So there's no reason to take things personally, no reason to have issues with expectations or mismanaged expectations, because you're setting expectations from the get-go. You're saying, here's how I work in relationships. Here's what we're going to do here. This is clarity. This is where it gets gray. When it gets gray, we can actually have mismatched expectations on the receiving end. And this actually helps others encourage open dialogue instead of having these mind games that we have to read when we're in partnership with somebody else. And a lot of times we want the men to read our minds. Guess what? They're not mind readers. But the healthy masculine will actually set clear, distinct boundaries and clear, distinct expectations so that we know the feminine can actually surrender and allow herself to be at ease and go with the flow in that way. So I so want to hear from you. Which one of these are you toying with? Which one of these have you done in the past? And how does this actually show up? I would love to know if and how this video has helped you, if this has sparked dialogue even in your own relationships. Where have you noticed that you lean more in your masculine? Where have you noticed that you lean more in your feminine? And I'm curious also to know, have you actually experienced some of this in the dynamics of your parents growing up? Because oftentimes I think that for a lot of us, we model what we actually were taught growing up. So if you had a mom or a mother figure in your life that had more of these toxic feminine traits, well, guess what? That's all you knew. And if you had a dad that was also toxic masculine and wasn't around, was emotionally unavailable, would gaslight, wouldn't really be present, wouldn't really ask questions, wouldn't really be thoughtful, or didn't really have the right decisiveness, couldn't make a decision to actually hold the feminine in place. How did that affect you? And how does that continuously affect you in your life? I'm so curious to know. If you love this video, tell me what I could add more in the comments below. And if you are new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I promise to give you way more value each and every time. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. It helps us grow the show more than you know, and I will see you next time.